Hi, this is Sally's Book Hub. Tune in daily for great books as we bring you the best reads from around the world. Hello, everyone. I'm Sally. Today, I'll be breaking down the classic bestseller, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by Dr. John C. Maxwell, the world's Pound One leadership authority. When people first see this title, many wonder, how can anyone remember all these rules? Even if you remember them, can you actually practice them? Truth be told, I had the same doubts when I first read this book. Later, as an executive leading teams of various sizes in multinational corporations, from strategic investments to sales, my understanding of leadership deepened through managing both simple and complex tasks. The reality is, people have long held three major misconceptions about leadership that need clarification. First misconception: people assume someone with a fancy title or appointed position automatically becomes a leader. But true leadership can't be given, assigned, or appointed. Real leadership comes from influence. It must be earned. The second misconception: some say managers equal leaders. In reality, management focuses on maintaining systems and processes. Leadership means influencing others to follow, to distinguish true leaders from mere managers. How do we test it? The best method is to see if they can drive positive change. Managers maintain course, but changing direction requires leadership. Some believe certain people are born leaders, but such individuals are extremely rare. Even then, it's because they instinctively follow leadership principles. For most of us, leadership isn't innate. It's a learnable mindset that can be developed. Simply put, leadership can be trained and learned. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership reveals all principles an ideal leader should follow. The better you apply these laws in your leadership practice, the more your team will willingly follow your lead. In practice, you don't need to apply all 21 laws with equal effort. While they may appear independent, they're actually logically interconnected. I've distilled 4 core laws while integrating all 21 into my teaching framework. What are these 4 fundamental laws? First, the law of influence. Second, the law of navigation. Third, the law of empowerment. Fourth, the law of the inner circle. Let's start with the law of influence. What really creates a person's influence? Many factors. First, who they are, their charisma, who they know, their network, what they know, knowledge, where they've been, experience, what they've done, past achievements, what they can do, future potential. All these elements combine to create influence. Let's look at an American dream story about 2 brothers. In 1930, Dick and Maurice moved from New Hampshire to California and opened a small drive-in restaurant. Customers would park and order from car-side servers who delivered food on trays. The business thrived with this innovative approach. By 1940, they relocated to a growing working-class city near Los Angeles. They expanded the menu beyond hot dogs and shakes to include roast beef sandwiches and hamburgers. Annual sales reached $200,000, making them local tycoons. In 1948, they eliminated car service and focused on walk-in customers. They simplified operations. Paper plates replaced china. Plastic replaced silverware. Cost-cutting lowered prices while maintaining quality. They pioneered an assembly line kitchen system for faster service. Every worker operated at high speed in this assembly line system. This was essentially the prototype of modern fast food restaurants. So, who were these brothers? They were the original founders of McDonald's. By this point, the brothers had achieved financial freedom. Their burger joint became one of America's most profitable restaurants, attracting nationwide attention and visitors wanting to learn their methods. This inspired them to franchise the McDonald's concept. For the brothers, this meant profiting without opening new locations themselves. They launched this effort in 1952, but it ended in disastrous failure. So how did McDonald's turn things around? In 1954, they partnered with a man named Ray Kroc. Kroc was a leadership genius who previously ran a milkshake mixer company. While his mixer sales declined everywhere, McDonald's orders skyrocketed. This prompted Kroc to personally visit the restaurant. Immediately recognizing its potential during his visit, Kroc envisioned hundreds of such restaurants nationwide. He quickly signed a deal with Dick and Maurice. In 1955, he founded McDonald's Systems, and later renamed McDonald's Corporation. Kroc acquired franchise rights and used one location as his prototype. He then built teams and organizations to create a national chain. Kroc relentlessly recruited top talent. As the team grew, these leaders brought in more capable newcomers. Kroc made huge sacrifices during the early years. Though in his 50s, he worked as hard as he did when starting his first business. His dedication paid off spectacularly. In 1961, Kroc bought full ownership for $2.7 million and transformed McDonald's into a global empire. Actually, the McDonald brothers did try franchising themselves, but it took them years to find just 50 buyers, with only 10 restaurants actually opening. Even at that scale, their limited leadership and vision became obstacles to grow. Their lack of leadership acted like a lid, capping their effectiveness. In contrast, Kroc's leadership and influence were extraordinary. From 1955 to 1959 alone, Kroc successfully opened 100 restaurants. 4 years later, 500 McDonald's dotted America. This shows how minimal influence becomes without strong leadership. To climb higher, you must enhance your leadership. Greater influence requires greater leadership capacity. Influence is the essence of leadership, its true measure. Where does influence come from? What factors determine it? The law of influence connects with the lead, foundation, respect, and mirror laws. The lid law acts like a ceiling. Leaders must push it higher to expand influence. Respect and trust form leadership's foundation. These create the bedrock for lasting influence. The mirror law. Leaders set examples that teams emulate for success. Mastering these laws gives leadership wings to soar. Now, let's explore the law of navigation. In April 1909, Commander Robert Peary planted the U.S. flag at the North Pole, while Antarctica remained unconquered. 2 men vied to be first to reach the South Pole. 40-year-old torpedo expert Robert Scott and 37-year Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen. After intense preparations, their silent competition began. Antarctic expeditions required careful consideration of team members, food temperature, supplies, and transportation. 8 years prior, Scott had reached Antarctica using Husky-pulled sledges for exploration. He acknowledged Huskies' high stamina but rejected them due to their substantial food requirements. Instead, he chose motorized sledges and sturdy Siberian ponies as transport. Amundsen, a master dog trainer, possessed unparalleled understanding of canines. Huskies, with thick fur, cold resistance, loyalty, and reliability, were polar residents' primary transport. He considered them superior partners, even compared to robust ponies. Amundsen brought nearly 100 expert sled-pulling Huskies. On day 5, Scott's motorized sledges broke down. Frozen lubrication systems in extreme cold rendered them irreparable dead weight. Overloaded ponies collapsed under continuous low temperatures and heavy loads. Scott's team resorted to man-hauling supplies through treacherous ice fields as ponies perished. Unbeknownst to them, Amundsen's team had surged far ahead. After 2 months' march, Amundsen navigated using compass and maps to approach the pole. A new 5-day blizzard then engulfed Antarctica. Braving the storm, Amundsen pressed forward with ski-guided dog teams. When Amundsen was 25 kilometers from the pole, Scott's team faced compounded disasters. Broken sledges and frozen ponies left them transportless. Constant hauling in 40°C frostbit their feet and faces, causing excruciating pain. Belief alone proved fragile in these extreme conditions. On December the 14th, 1911, a Norwegian flag flew over the first tent ever erected at the South Pole. Weather-beaten men in fur coats cheered, sang their anthem, tears freezing on their faces. Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen became the first human to reach the pole and return safely. Scott's team arrived at the pole 31 days later, runners-up in this historic race. They departed next day into a perfect storm of disasters. Scurvy, frostbite, brutal weather, and snow blindness decimated the team. Their frozen bodies and journals weren't found until November 1912. What lessons does this tragedy teach us? Followers need leaders who can chart the right course. This becomes critical in life or death situations. Anyone can steer the ship, but only leaders set the course. This is the law of navigation. How does navigation connect with other leadership laws? It links with the laws of victory, intuition, timing, and momentum. Leaders must combine intuition with strategic timing. They must create momentum and channel team enthusiasm. True leaders see further and earlier than others. Developing navigational skill requires facing reality, drawing from experience, and analyzing internal, external factors. True leadership requires balancing independence with team input. The law of navigation reflects foresight, the ability to prepare and plan ahead. Critical to this is accurately predicting challenges and assessing risks. Navigators must balance optimism with realism, intuition with planning, difficult but essential. Now let's examine the law of empowerment. What kind of leaders delegate? Only secure leaders truly empower others. Empowerment connects with laws of acceptance, sacrifice, priorities, and legacy. People first accept the leader, then their vision. Effective leaders sacrifice trivial matters to focus on essentials. This involves both prioritization and strategic delegation. Sustainable success requires institutionalizing best practices through example. In Mr. Sloan's My Years with General Motors, Henry Ford exemplifies centralized leadership, even spying on executives. How did this play out? Ford Motor Company, founded 1903, pursued mass-market outfitted to the Model T. Ford's obsession prevented improvements. He once destroyed a redesigned prototype. This revealed his autocratic nature. For 20 years, only Model T was produced.
The 1927 Model A arrived too late, lagging behind competitors' innovation. Despite its early lead, Ford's market share kept declining.
In 1931, with share at 28%, Henry Ford left the Navy to take over in Michigan, initially facing resistance from Old Guard loyalists. He united factions and ousted his grandfather within 2 years,
assuming presidency over a company losing $1 million daily.
Ford. I recruited talent like Ernest Breech from GM as VP. Breech brought 150 plus managers, reviving Ford by 1949. True empowerment requires leader security, which Ford lacked.
Feeling threatened by Breech's GM background and success, he pit executives against each other to maintain control.
Lee Iacocca later revealed Ford's leadership philosophy. Keep employees anxious and off balance. Never let them feel secure.
This toxic approach prevented true empowerment.
Neither Ford empowered teams with real authority. Why the refusal to delegate insecurity and legacy burdens? Insecurity, lack of self-worth, or resistance to change fundamentally hinder empowerment. Both Fords exhibited these traits in varying degrees.
Their insecurity led to inconsistent support, hindrance of talented staff.
True empowerment could have made Ford surpass GM as industry leader. GM founder Durant held opposite views, a true decentralist. He believed automotive diversity required decentralized approaches. Decentralization boosted initiative, accountability, and organizational flexibility. GM's system gave managers ownership through profit-sharing plans. FDR's perspective. The best executive finds talent and resists micromanaging. True leadership means empowering others to reach their potential. Now, let's examine the law of the inner circle. No leader succeeds alone. Potential depends on inner circle quality. A leader's effectiveness is determined by their closest associates. As Mother Teresa said, "You do what I can't, I do what you can't. Together, we achieve greatness." This illustrates team leadership principles connected to laws of attraction, connection, addition, explosive growth, and process. You attract who you are. Like-minded individuals form your core team. Retaining followers depends on your ability to connect. Leaders must serve others, enhance their value, and develop future leaders. How to practice the law of the inner circle. It requires intentional relationship building. Consider both task completion and team success when building your network. 3 key questions for selecting inner circle members. 1. Do they positively influence others? 2. Do they complement the team's strengths? 3. Do they enhance overall value? If yes to all 3, welcome them to your core team. While technology evolves and cultures differ, leadership principles remain timeless, from ancient Greeks to modern CEOs. Maxwell's 21 laws provide enduring guidance for all leaders. Master more laws, become more effective. Each is a tool for your leadership. Tukul. The book's limitation, not clarifying relationships between the 21 laws. No leader masters all laws perfectly. Focus on core principles. Navigation, empowerment, and inner circle create ripple effects across other laws. As John Donald said, leadership is a journey, not a destination, a marathon, not a sprint. This is Sally, looking forward to our next meeting. That's our exploration of the book. Keynotes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.